Yeah, I was asked to recognize 5 warriors that influenced me. And after I was asked that question, I kind of thought about it. And to me, a warrior is somebody who sees beyond this world. They see the importance of, sacrificing their lives for, the lives of the future generations. They put themselves out there in protecting their family. They see value in themselves, but they also see value in fighting for the future and fighting to preserve their people. And to me, a warrior is somebody who sees that the divine presence, and they live their life in a way that perpetuates the divine powers. So for me to choose 5 people that I think are warriors would kind of almost not really represent what a warrior represents, because a warrior doesn't, they see the value in themselves, of course, and they know that they carry the power of the Creator inside of them, and they know that they live among the powers of the Creator. But I think that to name them would be to be like, that's like, they sacrificed for their people and for their family. I got a few in mind, and I will recognize 5 of them. I'll go with 4, but there's a woman. She's still living. She's from New Zealand. Her name is Linda Smith. And the reason why I say she's a warrior is because she's a writer, but she writes about original ways of being, original indigenous models and methodologies, and decolonization. So that, to me, she's a strong woman. She's a strong indigenous woman of the Morai people, and she represents decolonization, and she represents the divine creation of us in our original form. And that's, she's a warrior for that in my eyes. I'm also thinking about Crazy Horse. He's kind of, a well-known Lakota warrior for, North American indigenous people. He, at a very young age, Crazy Horse, he's seen violence among his people by the invaders, and he wanted to be a warrior and stand up for his people and see that future generations, in our culture was preserved, and that divine presence was also lived and was also perpetuated in future generations. So I'll say him. As far as I was thinking of another woman, I'll go with Geronimo too, because Geronimo, he threw down. He was totally against any. He was resistant, and he was a fighter. If anybody who knows anything about Geronimo knows that he was down, and he wasn't gonna take nothing. He didn't. He fought. He fought and fought, and that spirit is, you know, that warrior spirit is why I chose to mention him. Let me see. I think also I need another woman. I was gonna say Wovoka. Well, Wovoka is real spiritual. He brought the ghost dance to Native peoples. And there was a ghost dance movement. This was before Wounded Knee. You know, it was like he had a dream, and in this dream, the spirits told him of this dance, and you know, these clothes, and this dance would make the white people go away. And these clothes were bulletproof, these ghost dance shirts, and this ceremony, you know, is like, you know, you were with your ancestors when you were dancing. So, I mean, Wovoka is a strong spiritual person, and I think, you know, he didn't really, you know, use violence or resistance, but instead he brought out the spiritual powers in the people, and that's, you know, that's warrior-like too. You know what, I also wanted to say, now, you know what, I mean, I started off with a woman, but, you know, I'm going to go ahead and say another man. And, you know, he just passed away, actually, about 3 or 4 years ago. His name was Vine Deloria Jr. Now, this man, I believe to be a warrior. He was a writer, but he was also an anthropologist, and also a lawyer, and a researcher, and a teacher. And he was a warrior because in his work, he contested a lot of the European anthropologists' research and publications. There was a lot of works done around, like, where we come from as Native people. There was that land bridge theory. You know, he brought up so much evidence that, you know, he kind of like all the education that we've been taught. He completely, it's like he purifies the education that we've been given. He purifies that, he detoxifies that, and presents us with the original, authentic version of education. And that's why, in my eyes, Vine Deloria Jr. is a warrior. So, I'm going to get a I wrote down a woman warrior, and I slipped my mind, but those are some examples of warriors. And, you know, if you asked any one of them, they would tell you that, you know what, the power of the Creator and the universal language, the laws of the universe, you know, is they want you to understand the universal laws. They want you to understand the spiritual, the natural balances, and all the order of the earth more than, you know, their life. They want you to understand these ways of being, these ways of knowing, these ways of living, these models of life, and they want you to share that knowledge with other people. And that's what a warrior is to me.